You moved to the island 3 years ago, not because you had a plan or even a clear reason. It was more like a quiet urge, a pull you couldn't quite explain, as if the island itself had whispered your name on the wind. You packed your things in silence, not telling many people, not even sure what you'd say if they asked. Not because you were running away exactly, you just didn't want to be known for a little while. The city had become too loud, too crowded with memories and expectations. You wanted to step outside the story everyone else seemed to be writing for you and find out what happened if you simply disappeared for a while. It wasn't even your island at first. You inherited it, technically, a forgotten property deed from a great aunt you never met. The paper was yellowed and brittle, the handwriting looping and unfamiliar, as if it belonged to another world entirely. You wondered what kind of person leaves behind an island and what kind of person receives one. When the letter came, you were living in a cramped apartment with thin walls and neighbors who argued at midnight. The radiator clanged in the winter, and the only view from your window was a brick wall. You opened the envelope, saw a black and white photo of a tall lighthouse, and knew you were going. It felt like a message meant only for you, a secret invitation to start over somewhere no one would find you. You arrived by boat. It was raining that day, a soft, salt-heavy kind that makes your clothes cling to your skin. The boat rocked gently as you stepped onto the dock, your suitcase heavier than you remembered. The air tasted different, sharp and clean, and you realized you hadn't breathed deeply in months. There were seagulls, a rocky dock, and silence, the kind of silence that feels like a held breath. The only sounds were the distant cries of birds and the steady rhythm of waves against stone. It was a silence that made you feel both small and infinite, as if the island was waiting to see what you would do next. The lighthouse loomed above you, chipped white paint and rusted railings, but it stood tall, strong, like it had been waiting. You ran your hand along the rough surface, feeling the history in every crack and flake. It was a monument to endurance, a silent witness to storms and sunrises, and now to your arrival. Inside, the floors creaked but held steady. There was an old couch, a kettle, books left behind. The air was thick with the scent of salt and old paper, and every object seemed to have a story. You wondered who had sat here before you, who had boiled water for tea, who had read these books on stormy nights. The light at the top still worked, somehow, flickering on like a heartbeat every few seconds. It cast long, slow-moving shadows across the walls, and you felt a strange comfort in its steady rhythm. It was as if the lighthouse was alive, keeping watch, promising you that you were not alone. You stayed that first night on a dusty mattress, surrounded by the scent of old wood and sea air. The wind rattled the windows, and the distant sound of waves lulled you into a restless sleep. And you didn't dream. Or if you did, you don't remember. But when you woke, the island was still there, waiting for you to begin. Now you have routines. They are quiet, gentle things, shaped by the rhythm of the island and the hush of the sea. Here time feels different, stretched out, softened by the sound of waves and the distant call of gulls. Each day begins not with urgency, but with a slow unfolding, as if the world is giving you permission to move at your own pace. Every morning, you make tea, not coffee. Coffee is too loud for mornings here. The ritual is simple, the kettle's whistle, the steam curling in the cool air, the gentle clink of a spoon against ceramic. You watch the rain trace patterns on the window. The world outside blurred and softened, and you let yourself wake up slowly, savoring the warmth in your hands. You open the small window by the stove and let the sea breeze wander in while you write. The salt air stirs the curtains and brings with it the scent of wet earth and distant pine. Sometimes you pause to listen to the wind or to watch skull wheel past the glass before returning to your notebook, letting your thoughts drift like the tide. You've started writing letters to people you've never met, to the woman who sat on this couch before me, to the lighthouse keeper I'll never become, to the version of myself I left behind. The words come easily, as if the quiet here has unlocked something inside me. These letters are confessions, questions, fragments of memory, and sometimes just lists of things you notice. The way the light falls on the floor, the sound of rain on the roof, the feeling of being both lost and found. You don't send them, obviously. You keep them stacked in a wooden box labelled driftwood. The box sits on a shelf by the window, growing heavier with each passing week. It's a secret archive of your days, a record of the person you are becoming in this place. Some days you reread them and cry. Other days you burn one in the fireplace and watch the ashes float into the sky. There's a strange comfort in letting go, in watching your words become smoke, in knowing that not everything needs to be kept or remembered. The fire crackles, the room glows, and you feel lighter, as if you've made space for something new. You have no internet, no TV. The silence is deep but not empty. It's filled with the turning of pages, the scratch of your pen, the soft flicker of candlelight. You learn to listen to the quiet, to let your mind wander without distraction. You do have a radio, though. It only picks up one station. A man with a velvet voice who reads stories at 2 a.m. His words drift through the darkness, weaving tales of faraway places and impossible things. The radio's static is a kind of lullaby, a reminder that you're not entirely alone. You imagine he lives in a lighthouse too. Maybe he's looking out at the same moonlit sea, sending his stories across the water, hoping someone is listening. You picture him surrounded by books and maps, his voice steady and kind, a companion in the night. Sometimes you write down what he says. Other times you fall asleep before the story ends and dream up your own endings. In the morning you find your notebook open, a half-finished sentence waiting for you, and you smile, knowing that here on this island your routines are not just habits, they are a way of making meaning, of finding yourself again and again in the quiet. Out here life moves to a different rhythm. There's a market boat that comes only once a month, and its arrival is an event everyone quietly anticipates. The sound of its engine echoes across the water, a reminder that the outside world still exists, even if it feels impossibly far away. The boat brings treasures, fresh bread, lavender oil, and books wrapped in brown paper and tied with twine. Each parcel feels like a message from another life, a small comfort against the wildness of the sea and the solitude of the island. There's a tradition here. You leave notes in a glass jar at the dock, and sometimes the boat brings you surprises in return. Last month someone sent you a vinyl record of whale songs. You don't know who it was, but the gesture felt intimate, like a secret shared between strangers. On foggy nights, when the world outside the lighthouse disappears into mist, you play the record. The haunting calls of whales fill the room, echoing off the stone walls, making you feel both less alone and more aware of the vastness that surrounds you. One night, while exploring the lighthouse, you discovered a diary hidden beneath the floorboards. Its cover was worn, the pages yellowed with age. It belonged to a girl named Nora who lived here in 1962. Nora wrote about her days alone on the island, her longing for connection, and someone named Miriam. She made a promise to stay until she could forgive herself, though she never explained what for. Her words are raw and honest, echoing your own thoughts in unexpected ways. The diary ends abruptly mid-sentence, as if Nora was interrupted or simply ran out of words. You find yourself thinking about her often, wondering what happened, whether she ever found peace, and if she ever left the island behind. Sometimes, as you sit by the lighthouse and watch the storm clouds gather, you wonder if the island healed Nora, or if it simply held her secrets. You wonder if the lighthouse is a refuge, or a reminder of everything left unresolved. The truth is, this island doesn't fix people, it just holds them, gives them space. Quiet. Some people need that more than anything. It's evening now. You're sitting at the top of the lighthouse, watching the sun drip down the horizon like paint. You light the beacon. It circles slowly, rhythmically, a silent I'm here pulsing into the dark. And as the wind curls around the tower, you whisper, I'm not ready to leave yet, that's okay.
The next story I'll be telling you is about the forgotten greenhouse. So lean back, relax, and let's get into it. Sometimes, the most extraordinary places are the ones you stumble upon when you're not even looking. Today, your path takes an unexpected turn behind the old train station, where the world seems to slow and the air grows thick with the scent of earth and rain. There, half hidden by wild brambles and the relentless embrace of ivy, stands a forgotten greenhouse. Its glass walls, once clear and proud, are now clouded with age, streaked with the memory of countless storms. Ivy twists and curls across every surface, weaving a living tapestry that nearly conceals the structure from view. Rust stains the metal frames, and the roof sags under the weight of years gone by. There's no sign to announce its presence, no path to guide your way. The ground beneath your feet is soft with moss and scattered with fallen leaves, muffling your footsteps as you approach. The silence is deep, broken only by the distant call of a bird and the gentle creak of the wind through the trees. You pause, heart beating a little faster, as you take in the sight before you, a place that feels both abandoned and expectant, as if it's been waiting for someone to notice it again. You reach out, fingers brushing against the rough, damp wood of the door. It yields with a low, drawn-out creak, swinging open just enough to invite you inside. The air that escapes is cool and tinged with the scent of forgotten flowers and damp earth. For a moment you hesitate, caught between the world you know and the mystery that lies beyond the threshold. But curiosity wins, and you step forward, feeling as though you've crossed into a secret kept hidden by time itself. Inside the greenhouse, you are immediately enveloped by a thick, humid warmth that clings to your skin and fills your lungs with the scent of earth and growing things. The air is alive with the quiet energy of life. Everywhere you look, plants stretch and twist, reaching for the fractured moonlight that slips through the cracked glass overhead. Some of these plants are familiar, but most are not. Here, glowing mushrooms cluster in the shadows, their soft blue-green light casting an otherworldly glow on the mossy stones beneath your feet. Vines as thick as your wrist hang from the rafters, humming with a gentle vibration that you can almost feel in your bones, their leaves trembling as if in silent conversation. Enormous leaves, broad and velvety, sprawl across the floor and up the walls, each one beaded with dew that catches the moonlight and scatters it in 1,000 tiny rainbows. The air is heavy, not just with heat, but with the scent of damp soil, sweet nectar, and something wild and unnameable. As you move deeper, you notice the way the moonlight filters through the foggy glass, illuminating swirling motes of dust and pollen that dance in the air like tiny spirits. In one corner, a forgotten gardening bench is nearly swallowed by creeping ferns and delicate jewel-like flowers that bloom in the cracks. The silence is profound, broken only by the occasional drip of condensation and the soft, almost musical hum of the vines. It feels as if you've stepped into another world, a secret, living place where the ordinary rules of nature have been rewritten, and every leaf and petal seems to pulse with hidden magic. Here, in the heart of the greenhouse, the night is alive, and you are surrounded by wonders you never imagined. You take off your shoes, feeling the cool, damp air brush against your skin. The floor beneath you is a patchwork of dirt and moss, soft and yielding, as if nature itself is welcoming you into this forgotten place. Each step you take is silent, cushioned by the living green carpet, and you can almost feel the pulse of the earth beneath your feet, steady and ancient. greenhouse is silent except for the distant drip of water and the occasional flutter of a bird outside. But the air is thick with the memory of someone who once called this place their own. You pause, letting your eyes adjust to the dappled light streaming through broken glass panels overhead. Sunbeams catch on floating dust motes, turning the air golden and making the overgrown ferns and wildflowers shimmer. The space feels both abandoned and alive, as if the plants have claimed it for themselves, curling their vines around rusted metal frames and pushing up through cracks in the floor. You notice a weathered wooden table in the center of the room, its surface cluttered with the remnants of a life once lived here. On the table sits a chipped teacup, half filled with cold tea, the surface undisturbed as if its owner had only just stepped away. Beside it lies an open journal, its pages yellowed and edges curled from humidity. You lean in, curiosity piqued, and see a delicate sketch of a plant, its petals drawn with careful attention to detail. Underneath, in looping handwriting, is a label, "Wakes only for lonely hearts." The words linger in your mind, mysterious and evocative, hinting at secrets and stories left behind. You wonder who sat here, sipping tea and sketching plants, and what drew them to this quiet sanctuary. Did they come seeking solitude, or were they searching for something only the greenhouse could offer? The journal's pages flutter in a gentle breeze, as if inviting you to read more, to uncover the discoveries made within these glass walls. You sense that this place holds more than just memories. It holds the promise of new understanding, waiting for someone willing to look closely and listen to what the silence has to say. You sit. You stay a while. The greenhouse doesn't ask you questions. It just holds you. The next night you come back, and, the night after that. Each time, something new blooms. The plants seem to know your mood. If you're anxious, they sway gently, releasing scents like citrus and lavender. If you're sad, small blossoms bloom around your feet. You begin to write in the journal. Today I remembered something good. Today I didn't panic. Today I made tea just because I wanted to feel warm. Eventually other entries appear, not in your handwriting. Notes, thoughts, apologies, gratitude. You don't know who else visits, but you all share the same silence. One day, a flower opens in the center of the greenhouse. Only once, only briefly. And you swear it speaks, not with words, but with the feeling of being known. You never take photos. You never tell anyone. The midnight greenhouse becomes your secret place. And someday, someone else will bloom. And the plants will bloom for them, too.
Final story, we learn about a hotel that's there when you need it and gone when you don't. Let's listen. You don't remember how you got here. 1 minute you were crying in the back of an Uber, phone dead, mascara streaked. The next, you were standing in front of a quiet hotel lit by warm golden light. A sign above the door reads simply, "Vacancy." Inside, the lobby is still, dusty velvet chairs, a ticking clock. No one at the front desk, but a key is waiting in an envelope labeled "You." Your room is perfect, not fancy, just yours. It smells like fresh laundry and something nostalgic you can't place. The window looks out over a misty garden. The bed is already turned down. You sleep for 14 hours. And when you wake, you feel safe for the first time in weeks. No one bothers you. There's no checkout time. The mini fridge is stocked with your comfort snacks. The lamp gives off the exact shade of light you like. The bathtub is deep. The water never goes cold. When you walk through the halls, you hear other doors close quietly. You're not alone, but no one makes you talk. It's a hotel for the overstimulated, the broken-hearted, the burnt out. In the lounge, there's a piano that plays itself. In the garden, the fog smells like eucalyptus. There's a library, a hot cocoa bar, and a closet full of cozy sweaters. You stay a few days, maybe a week, you don't count. One morning you wake up and your key is gone. Not in a scary way, just gone. You pack your bag, open the door, and find yourself on a familiar street. The hotel is gone. You check Google Maps, nothing. But you feel better, not fixed, not new, just rested, and sometimes that's enough.